out to see what I have to say about OCCA and about many of the families that came here in the 1920s, 1950s. Okay, and so as said, my name is Angelica Diaz. I am the Executive Director of OCCHA. I've been in the position for about 1.5 years, and it is truly an honor to be in front of an organization that has given so much to the Hispanic Latino community. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Wilson is not here today. She's on our prayers. She had, I believe her mother had passed away. So she is the director of the Steel Museum, and she gave me class as well while I was a student here. But our prayers and our thoughts are with her and her families. And I would just like to thank the Steel Museum for this opportunity. It is truly an honor. And we, on behalf of the OCCHA staff and the OCCHA board, we would also like to congratulate the Steel Museum on their 30th anniversary. Thank you very much for gathering so many memories for us to share with our families, with our children, great-grandchildren, and our, and everybody, all the community. I think they deserve an applause, right? They've been here for 30 years. So the purpose of this lecture or presentation, however you want to call it, is to talk about OCCHA and the work we have done and are still doing in the community. As well, maybe just sharing some of the stories of the Latino families that came here in the 1920s, 1930s, 1950s. And so after this lecture, I just want to broaden your knowledge of who are the Hispanic community, or who is the Hispanic community, who they are, why they're here, and when did they arrive. So OCCHA, Organización Cultural Cívica Hispanoamericana. Some of you looked at me like, what? So I'll translate that. It's a civic and cultural Hispanic American organization. And so for those of you who are not familiar with OCCHA, OCCHA was established in 1972 with the purpose of, it was created with the purpose of addressing issues and problems in the Hispanic community and to help the community live a better life throughout programs and services. Today, we have evolved. We not only serve the Hispanic community, but we serve the multicultural community of the city of Youngstown, the Mahoning Valley, and the surrounding areas. So what does OCCHA do? What do we do? So OCCHA provides a variety of services. And at the time when someone asked me, so what does OCCHA do? I was like, oh, wow, I have to give this big lecture of about 5 minutes because we do so much for the community. And so I'm just going to talk about a little bit about our programs and services that we today serve and have in our agency. So OCCHA, we'll start off with our ESL program, English for Spanish-speaking people, for Spanish speakers that do not know the English language. We've been providing these classes for as long as I think Iris can remember, right? We've been providing these classes for a very, very long time. And I have family members that went to OCCHA's ESL classes. And so today we have partnered with Eastern Gateway. We still provide the English classes. We have about 13 students. I'm sorry? Oh, 35 students. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of last semester. This semester we have 35 students enrolled in the ESL program. We partner with Eastern Gateway. And I think it's just a beautiful thing that so many people want to come in and learn the English language. So we're proud to have those ESL classes at OCCHA. We also have a food and clothing program. We have a clothing room. Anyone from the community can drop off this, any clothes, any shoes, anything that they no longer use, and it is available to families in need. We also have a food pantry. These are like our emergency programs for any family coming into the, maybe new or maybe not new, that may need food. And so they could come in once or twice a month, and they're able to, we're able to provide those services for them, food and clothing. We also have a summer camp. Summer camp has been around for a very long time as well. I know there are a few of you that might have been part of the summer camp program. Show of hands, anybody? There we got some in the house, okay. And myself, I was a camp counselor during my high school years. But today, we're still providing summer camp programs, and I think it's very, very essential to the community, very nice for us to have this program in place. This past summer, we had 51 students participate in the summer camp program. We went to about 5 different field trips. We had different organizations share their resources with our families, and it was a success. And you may ask, well, sometimes some people may ask, well, field trip, summer camp, what is the purpose? So many times, many of our families are low income. They might not have all the resources. Maybe to take a trip down to the Steel Museum, or take a trip down to a wow and take their kids. So it is very important for us to provide these services to our students so they can be part of the community and feel part of the community. So that's one of my, I'm very proud of that program because, it's nice when you have children that don't have the resources and you're able to take them down to the zoo and just, have them participate in all these different things that the community provides. So we have our social services, and this one here is very complex just because in our office on a daily basis, we receive 10, maybe, on a busy day, maybe 10, 15 families, sometimes even more, believe it or not. And so it's very complex. Sometimes it might be a family that just needs an application, for jobs. They need assistance filling out an application, or they may need a letter interpreted that they received in the mail. They have no clue what it says. Sometimes it might be even a scam, and they're so worried about this letter because they don't know what it is. So we've got our staff is fully bilingual, and they're able to assist these families that come in. And so we've got from the most simplest to the most complex. We get people coming in because they can't pay their rent, or they might be needing guidance to navigate the housing system or navigate the welfare system. Anything, our families have many needs, and so this service here is very broad. Another program that we do have at OCCHA is our scholarship program. So OCCHA, with the generosity of families, churches, and organizations, we have awarded thousands of dollars to Hispanic students from the Mahoning Valley. And so we're very proud of that. We value education. We want our students to go out and get their degrees, and education is very expensive. So, these are some of the hurdles that our Hispanic Latino families face when they want to prosper in the community, when they want to go to college, but maybe they don't have the funding necessary. So that is something that we also take pride in. We're very proud of that scholarship program, and we've been giving out scholarships for a very long time as well, right, Iris? Yes, and so if you have any students that are graduating high school and they are Latino, they have a grandmother, they just have to have some type of Latino background, please send them over to OCCHA so they can also, be part of the scholarship. The Hispanic Health Program, one of our biggest partners is Mercy Health. Every month we provide different programs. They come out to our agency, they do blood screenings for free. Right now I believe we are going to start having some type of medical van coming to the agency and providing free services for the community. Just recently, actually yesterday, we partnered with Mercy Health and with other agencies, and we had a community baby shower. We had over 40 women come out with their families, and we were able to give them diaper baskets and all these little things, and then we were able to share other community partners as well. Recently, we just created a new program, the Mental Health Navigator Program. And so we're very proud of this one just because the purpose of this program is to connect our Latino families to mental health, to the help they need, which is very important in our community. Many times, and I believe that doesn't happen just in the Hispanic Latino community, but many times, these are issues that the families tend to keep to themselves. They don't look for the help they need. And then we have all these problems in society just because, sometimes our culture or the way we were brought up, we're not used to speaking maybe to a professional, a health professional. So we want to break those barriers and make sure that all these services are available to our Hispanic families. So as you can see, it's so many of them. As you can see, OCCHA does a lot for the community. But tonight, I've talked about all the programs and services that we provided, and it is a very special year this year for OCCHA. We celebrate 50 years in the community. Can we get an applause for that? So since 1972, we have been providing services to the Hispanic multicultural community, and that is a victory. And so, but if you think 50 years is a long time for an organization to be in the community, if I were to tell you today that Hispanic families have been in the community since 1920s, what would you say? Yes, we would. It's amazing, and so I believe this is very important for us to make sure that everybody, our children, our great-grandchildren, and those who are, our future generations know that we have been part of this community since the 1920s. And so I just wanted to say as well that I believe the Steel Museum, they're in their celebration of the 30 years, they picked, or their theme is 30 years of memory, identity, and community, correct? Okay, so that's very important. I should have touched a little bit based on that in the beginning, but 30 years of memories, identity, and community. So I will start off so in 1999, OCCHA in Santa Rosa de Lima Church created a list of what we call Los Pioneros and collected stories of Hispanic families that came to the Valley since the 1930s. I would like to thank, he's not here today, but Hector Colon. I shared with him that I would be here tonight, and he gave me this book. Excuse me. As you can see, it's a little marked up with my sticky notes. But he gave me this book. It's called Organización Cívica Cultural Hispanoamericana, a tribute to the Hispanic pioneers, un tributo a los pioneros hispanos. And when I saw this book, I was just amazed of all the stories that are in here. I feel like this is a piece of gold to me, a piece of our history. And I'm asking myself, why aren't there more of these printed and shared within the community? I believe, so that's my next project. I believe that a lot of the Latinos, especially in the Youngstown city schools, the community needs to be aware that their ancestors, that there were people that were just like them that came 1920s. And the reason why I say that is because many times when you come from and this is not in my notes, when you're coming from a Hispanic family, as I did growing up in the city of Youngstown, in a house where they speak Spanish, many times you don't feel part of the community. You feel a little different, and this is my experience. Somebody's experience might be a little different, but this is my experience. You speak Spanish at home. Your mom and your parents are, they're teaching you something different, different culture. Then you go to school, and there's a completely different culture being shared at the school. So you've got this child in two different cultures, and so many times they might not feel part of that community. So it is important that they know the history, that they know, hey, my ancestors have been coming here. They came here to work since the 1920s. And so I think it's important so our children can feel part of that community. Not just our children, but our families, correct? And so let me get back to my notes here. So los pioneros, the pioneers, they came to the valley with one purpose. Many of them came here to work, to work. And so one of the first families that I read about in this book was a Mexican family. And so this Mexican family, their name, or his name was Luis Alcantara. He came here from Mexico 1923. 1923. Isn't that amazing? That is just amazing. And and if you tell that to a Mexican child in the school today, he'll say, nah, probably because they don't know. I know a few Mexican children in Kansas City schools. If I tell a Mexican child today, did you know that a person from Mexico came to Ohio 1923? That child will be amazed, right? So I think that's why it is important for us to share this information with our schools, with our community. So his family, he came here, 1920s. And so during this time, there were many Mexicans. There were a few Mexican families in the area. And I would like to touch a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of information about these families. I probably wouldn't give you the correct information, and I wish they would be here because I'm pretty sure they would have this amazing, amazing stories to share with you. And so during this time, there were many Mexican families in the area. I got this information from your brother, correct? I'm sorry? Sí, Carlos Ramirez. And so I sat with him and I had a conversation with him, which is very important, right? And so he said that these Mexican families made a society, a committee, or we could say a club, right? And it was called Sociedad Mutualista Mexicana. And this was established in 1937. I'm sorry. I think I got it wrong. I don't think I have that information, I'm sorry. But it was established way before OCCHA. I don't got the year. I thought I did. But do you have the year? Oh, I was right. Okay, I thought I was looking at the wrong thing. 1937. This Mexican club was created to assist the Mexican families in the area. Isn't that amazing? Yes. Amazing. During 1950s and the 1970s, in Puerto Rico, according to Encyclopedia PR, Puerto Rico, more than 500,000 Puerto Ricans left the island. This was known as La Gran Migración. 500,000 Puerto Ricans left the island. Yes, my grandfather was one of them. My great-grandfather was one of them. All right, 1952. Emilia and Ramon Cuevas came here to the city of Youngstown looking for a better opportunity for their families. And so here I am, a third, fourth generation, and I'm in front of you guys. I'm talking about a wonderful organization called OCCHA. Isn't that amazing, right? And so he came here looking for a better future for his family. My grandmother was the oldest out of, I believe, 8 brothers, the Cuevas family, and I know, I mean, they passed away. My grandmother also passed away, but I know that they came here with good intentions, and their family has been rooted in the Mahoning Valley. And so we are going to have a conversation, and because I think that many of the families that are in this book, some of them are here today. And one of those families is Antonio y Silvia Crespo. They're present here today. And so Antonio agreed to come up and just share a few words with you all tonight. Because I think he'll do a much better job, right? In explaining how his experience was. And so muchísimas gracias, Antonio. Pase por aquí y comparta. ¿Cómo? Uh-oh. Well, Iris told me I can, right? So le voy a dar por lo menos 5 minutitos. ¿Está bien?
Yo creo que mucho.
Okay.
Así que tú ves.
Okay.
Te voy a decir, podemos empezar así, con español. ¿Cuántos de ustedes hablan español? No, casi todos. Solamente tenemos un grupito bien pequeño que no hablan español, solamente hablan inglés. How many speak English? Raise your hand. Oh, we got a good group. That's pretty good, because I'm going to talk in Spanish.
I'll translate later.
Okay. I'd like to share a couple words with you people. I come over here in 1952 from Puerto Rico. When I came over here to Puerto Rico, it was a lot of work, especially in the steel mill. You can quit one job in the morning, you can have a new job in the afternoon. That's how busy it was over here. Over here in the city of Youngstown, 5 o'clock in the evening, it looked like a Times Square in New York. It was so many people, and I think a lot of people that you can tell me about it if I'm lying. You know, it was so many people, American people, was all kind of nationality coming. We have working for the steel mill, because now we got all kind of people working for the steel mill. You know what I mean? Hungarian, Italian, Puerto Rican, Mexican, or you mention and you're gonna find. Okay, we go good. Okay, I don't want to stand this too long because this lady, she can seem to talk. And I'm glad she knows she can talk for me. Okay. But I like to share that coming over here, I was a 4 year by myself, only one brother. I'm coming over here through my brother. I spent over here 4 years, single, walking like a young boy, 18 years old, with no guard, nobody protecting me, or nobody guiding me. I had to learn by myself. It was really hard. Believe me, it was hard, especially the language. After so many years, you can see I still don't speak no English. Very poor. Okay. But at least I try to do my best. Okay, I just do it. I think I know you from somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. Okay, I just want to thank you for letting me speak the consultation, because I'm very proud, for one thing, to be a Puerto Rican, to be American, because we are American citizens. But a lot of people, they don't know that, okay? And they think that we're not American. We said 1917, we're United States citizens, American citizens, okay? That's what I want to tell you, because I feel proud to be a Puerto Rican. I'm coming over here, when I come over here, I don't know how to ask for a glass of water on English, because that's not our language. We only speak Spanish, but that's our language. That's amazing. Anyhow, I don't know what to tell you now today, because all of you got more experience than myself. Maybe I might be the oldest one, because I'm pretty old. And I'm afraid to tell my age. Because if I had to tell my age, my wife was going to think, hey, you're too old for me. I must say I have to be careful on that, okay? Because I don't want to do so. I want to keep her. And besides that, so when I come over here back in 1952, and after working in the mill, really I got a hard time. Knowing the people, but my language, I don't know how to communicate with the people. You know what I mean? It was pretty tough. Really tough. You know what I mean? Well, especially for the person like me, they come from the country. I come from the big town. I come from the country. Coming to this big city, I can say big city, not like New York City or Chicago or Cincinnati, California, Los Angeles. No, but Youngstown was a big city. There was a lot of people over here. I think it was more than 300,000 people over here back in 1952. When you talk over here by the Federal, East Federal, or West Federal, you got 5 o'clock in the evening. You can hardly walk in there with so many people. I don't know how many people you was over here by that time, back in 1952, 53, 54. The buses run every 10 minutes because they was moving all the time, back and forth. Because there were so many people, and not too many people got a transportation. You had to use a public for transportation, you know what I mean? But we were pretty happy to be over here in the city of Youngstown, because I think the people say we work for different part of the world, okay? People come from everywhere. Okay, we start acting like a family together because I talk to the Mexican, the Cuban, the Arabian, the Italian, all kind of people, because that was, believe me, yeah, the steel mill bring a lot of people to here to Youngstown, Ohio, okay? And I'm proud to be a member to OCCHA. I think I was one of the founders of OCCHA back in 1972 when that was funded. I was over there through the street on the east side. That was the best office. Each Caravaggio, that fellow over there in the other corner, I'm my favorite too. They know too because I live up to go to work. They have to. But I'm proud to be Puerto Rican, to be over here part of the United States. Okay, proud to be member of the United States, of the family of the United States. Okay, because like I said, that's in 1972, we part of the United States of America. Okay, I don't want to say anything more because this lady got more to say about me. Okay, that's myself. I want to thank you so much for paying attention, and thanks a lot, and God bless you all.
Muchísimas gracias. How many love just listening to stories like that, right? I love it. And so I'm not in trouble because I just said that you wanted to, we wanted to talk. So, and muchísimas gracias por compartir esa historia. Thank you for sharing those stories. And one of the things that he said, that one of the struggles that he faced when he came here was what? Language. Yes, because although Puerto Ricans, right, or Puerto Rico, we are U.S. citizens, but we speak Spanish. We come here, and actually, I'm going to tell you something interesting. In Puerto Rico, English is taught from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade, currently. And I believe in those times, school was also, there was a time that school was in English. Okay? But you know what? Language is part of our identity, right? Spanish is part of our identity. And some people, not being the case with Mr. Crespo, but some families got here and their children, they didn't want their children to speak Spanish in school, or they didn't want they stopped them from speaking Spanish because they wanted them to feel part of the community and just, feel American and not, and not have that English and Spanish. But you know what? Today, we encourage our students and we encourage our children learn Spanish because it's part of your identity, it's part of your history, and you get paid more too when you know two languages, right? So I always, and it's very hard. It's very hard. I have children, and my youngest daughter, she doesn't want to speak Spanish. So, it's hard. It's hard. But, they don't understand that learning Spanish and knowing that is going to be beneficial for them. But what are they, going back to Mr. Crespo, this was one of the biggest issues, not just for him, but for many of the families that were here. Can you imagine, just everyday life and everyday issues that happen not just to the Hispanic community, but also to the other communities. And on top of that, you have a language barrier that you don't understand maybe what your boss is saying. Or you can't tell them what you want to say, as an employee, you're not able to communicate with your boss. And this can create a lot of issues, problems, frustration, okay? And so, muchísimas gracias. Thank you, Mr. Crespo, for sharing your story. But like him, many other families came. And in that book, there are, I believe, over 40 families that have shared their stories. And there are many families that are not in that book. So we also have, and I know he said he didn't want to speak, but Mr. Arroyo, Luis Arroyo, and his family also came here in the 1950s. We have Betty Cuevas, right? She married one of my uncles. And so they also came to work in the mills. We have Benito and his family, right? Your family. And did you want to share something, Benito? Did you want to share a little bit about maybe what do you think their struggles were, or when they came here? What do you remember? Yeah, 2 minutes. All right, I spoke to him before the meeting, so I'm not putting him on the spot.
Thank you. I relish this opportunity, but yeah, my dad came here in the 1950s with the same aspiration as Senor Crespo did, was to better himself. He wanted to obviously work here, and so he worked in the steel mills. He started working at the railroads first, and then he went to the steel mills. Just like Senor Crespo, my dad did not know English, so that was a huge barrier for him. And so later on in life, my dad went to Puerto Rico where he met my mother, and then they courted via mail, and that's how they fell in love. Can you guys imagine that now in 2022? There was no internet, no anything, right, back in that day. So then he married her, she came here. My mother was only 19 years old when they got married. My dad was, I think, close to 40. So you talk about rocking the cradle a little bit, that's kind of funny. But anyways, nonetheless, they had 2 children, my sister and I. But my dad instilled education, and he always told us, I don't care what you do, you're going to go to school, you're going to go get a degree, you're going to graduate from college, because I only had a 6th grade education, my father did, or maybe even less. So you learn that, you learn about their resiliency, and I know my dad's not here in spirit with me on earth, but I know that he is looking down at my sister and I know he's proud of us because of who we've become here, as part of his legacy, and so I love this county. I love OCCHA. I've been involved with OCCHA for probably, since I was a little kid. I used to go to summer camp. I've been on the board. I've been part of every different committee that we have, and so it's such a pleasure, it's such an honor and a privilege that I have served on different committees. Many of these people here, we all knew each other from the church, it's just from the community. So yes, like Mr. Crespo says, the struggle was real, not knowing English, not knowing how to communicate with your fellow employee, your neighbors, and then maybe being picked on. My dad, I remember him saying that people used to pick on him because he didn't know English. And I remember him saying he would go to work walking, but he would leave like these little pebbles so that when he came back, he would follow those pebbles and get back to his house. So those are just amazing stories that I will always remember from my dad. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Benito, for sharing that with us. And so, I would like to share also. I met in church. I grew up in a church, right, here in the city of Youngstown. And so I remember seeing the elderly, right, and hearing their stories of how they came here. And he's not here tonight, but Justino Morales. And I believe he is, I interviewed him as well, and he is in the Voices of the Valley. If you look him up, you might find his story there. I remember him telling me that when he came here, he didn't know he needed a coat. And so he was, he said he came here, I think he had like $50 in his pocket. That's all. He had $50 in his pocket. And he says, I didn't know I needed a coat, and I was freezing. So, many of our families, they came here. Mexico is very nice weather, right? Puerto Rico is beautiful. Have you ever been to, for those of you who've been to Puerto Rico, the weather is beautiful. It is, it's called La Isla del Encanto, an enchanted island, right? Enchanted, that's how it would be translated. It's beautiful. These families came here because their countries were very poor, looking for a better life to support their families. And so they faced many struggles, language barriers, not knowing the culture, not knowing the weather, something as simple as that. you're there, you probably don't have the money in your pocket. You got here, oh wow, I need to buy a coat because in my country it's not this cold. This is probably the first time they ever, and a lot of the families did not like the cold weather at all. That was one of their, oh no, it poo, right? Or I don't know, that's horrible, the weather. Until this day, many people say, I love Ohio, but I don't like the weather, right? And they go back and they want to retire. They want to go back to wherever they're from, Puerto Rico, Mexico. So many of these challenges, we in 1970s, that's why OCCHA was created, 1972, because all these families had different issues going on and they needed help and they needed help interpreting or guiding themselves throughout the system. And so thank you to those pioneers in 1972 that created this beautiful organization that till this day, 50 years later, are still helping Latino families. Yes. So we're working it up, and I know this book, if you want to see it afterwards, you're more than welcome to pick it up. And we tried scanning, and thank you, Sabrina, right? Thank you, Sabrina. She scanned some of the stories in the book, and they're shared back there. Some of the scannings might not be very clear, so you're more than welcome to pick up the book and see. And so I'm wrapping it up. And so today, the pioneers, as we call them, those pioneros, have rooted their families, or not today, the pioneers that we refer to have rooted their families in the Mahoning Valley, and many of their grandchildren, their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren are well established and do not face the same challenges that their families faced when they came here. How many of you are second and third generations? Yes. And I know that you're not going through the same struggles as them, but they sacrificed themselves, to come and provide a better future for their families, for you, and for their great-grandchildren. And so throughout the years, actually, Mr. Crespo's family is here as well. His daughters are here, his grandchildren are here, right? Hello, yes. And so Iris Crespo, she's on our board. She's the secretary of the board. And so I know she's a retired teacher as well, right? We have Latino families giving back to the community. Yes. And so we're very, very proud of that. So today, Hispanic families are still coming to the area. After Hurricane Maria, many, many families came from Puerto Rico. I myself came because I left the area in 2003. And I lived in Puerto Rico for about 7 years myself. And I was there during Hurricane Maria, and I came back home. And with me, during this time, 200,000 Puerto Ricans left the island, according to my research, and I believe 40,000 of those Latino families came to the state of Ohio, okay? So some families came here because they already have family, right? Their families were established, so they came back. Others are attracted by the low cost of living, coming from New York, coming from Puerto Rico, coming from different places. So many Latino families come into OCCCA every day. And we are just amazed as how many people want to come in to Youngstown, want to come in to the valley and establish their families. And like I said, they might be attracted to the area because either they have family here, or maybe they're attracted because of the low cost of living. And others just happen to stumble across a good place to call home. So when we think of our valleys, memories, identity, and community, just like the theme of this year, when you think about the memories, when you think about the valley's identity, when you think about the community's identity, we think about the steel mills, we think about the pizza, Briar Hill, we think about Idora Park. Many of you can just shout out a few things that you think about when you think about the memories of this valley. But I also think about the Hispanic families that came here, they left their countries, looking for a place to work and to call home. Okay, thank you so much.
So we'd like to thank you all. We have about an hour left. Feel free to wander through the museum, ask any questions of me that you want. Dr. Leary is sitting back there. He's our consultant. He's also available to answer questions. I remember talking to that gentleman sitting right there about his father working in the sheet tube. I feel a joint project coming on, okay? So I'll promote that, okay? I know that in this semester, one of our retired professors is doing a class for African Americans that work in the mills. And they're doing all the research this semester, and then they're gonna put up an exhibit that will take up the whole lobby in the spring,
We won't.
okay?
And we got the information for you here.
Yes, you do, no doubt you do, okay? But anyway, I would love to watch this evolve, okay? You working with us
Yes.
is gonna be a really nice joint venture here. So I encourage you, stop by, see us anytime. Anytime you want to tell your story and put it on tape, we'll be happy to film you. Okay? Okay, we have a script and everything. We do what they call oral interviews. Okay? We have several from different communities around the valley, but I don't think we have very much on Hispanic material. She's assuring me I will. Okay.
We need more.
Yeah, we always need more, okay? So then again, look around, feel free to wander through, have some cookies and water and whatever that we have on the back table, just some munchies. And thank you once again for helping us celebrate our 30th meeting.